Okay, how is the sound now? Does it sound any good? Please let me know if there is some problems with the sound. Let's start. Hello, back in Helsinki, that's true. And I don't know what happened. Everything was fine 2 minutes before the live stream, and then all of a sudden the sound was gone. And then I lost the picture too. I don't know what really happened. Oh, there's a slight echo. That could be something on your end because I have everything turned off here. Yes, everything is turned off. Slight echo. Okay, sounds perfect now. That's so good. That's so good. I'm sorry about the 18-minute delay, and thanks for being patient with this. This is always something that I don't know. It could have been anything. StreamYard, which I'm using, could have been my switchboard, the Atem Mini, or it could be the cords. I switched the camera, so I don't know if there's something wrong with the EM1 Mark III. That could be it also, that it's broken. I don't know. I need to look into that later. But I'm glad you guys are still here. Yeah, we have almost about the same amount of people watching, and that's good. That's good. I'm real sorry for the delay. But let's start now. And first, a few things about the stream. I will do about a 2-hour stream. Okay. The first 20 minutes not counted, and I'll have a bit of an info about the future assignments, and then I will give the feedback. I think I have 35 images this time that I will go through, and then if we have time, if this feedback goes faster, we can just chill out and have a small Q&A, and then I will at the end I will give the next assignment. But about the future assignments, I will change this a bit so that I will have the assignment video or the topic that I'm going to want your images at the beginning of the month, and then the live stream will be at the end of the month. The reason is that then you will have some more time to make those images, because I get a lot of emails that can I still send images? I was too late. Even after the stream, people are asking about. And also, if you have more time, 3 to 4 weeks to make those images, maybe you go out and photograph, because sometimes people send old images, and of course that's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. But it still would be great if you go with the assignment and go outdoors, or maybe sometimes it could be indoors, to make that image. That would maybe benefit better than just taking a already proven good image from your archives. But as I said, nothing wrong with that. And when I choose the images, I don't care if it's an old or a new image, as long as it's got something to do with the assignment and I find it a valuable image because it's really good, or it has something that others will benefit from, something that will benefit from. And that's why I will have the next assignment video at the beginning, so it will be next week. Let's see, where you guys from? We do have okay, now it sounds good. That's really good. And where are you people from? From South Africa. I see. Sound is good. That's good. I know now that. The internet, I like this one. I like this Hilbert Hotel. The internet broke down because everyone wanted to see your stream. Yeah, that's what it was. I really like that. That was a good one. That was a good one. And then we will start with the images. And I will turn the other camera on so that we can check out the images. And what I will do is I will have it like this so that we can see the histogram, and if there are some information about the image itself over there. This one was sent by Paul Jennings, and he says that it's an old image. And yes, you can see it's actually made with a film. And back in, it doesn't say, but the camera was used was OM2, so SP OM2 SP. So the camera at least wasn't very new, and this was taken in Firenze. And I think this one is a very good image for reflection. This is something that I did not cover on my reflections video, and that's why I like this image. Of course, it's a bit magenta, and then you can tell that it's taken with film because of the structure and everything, and the scan. And what I like about this is also that it's taken really close, and you can really see the face, or the face is big, and then you have the glasses, which is a good place for a reflection. And you can see something on the background, that you have a city, and then you have the reflection on the sunglasses, and it's a nice image. Too bad it's a bit, the colors are a bit off, but fixing this would make this a pretty nice image. But yeah, a good start from Paul Jennings. And please make some comments of what do you think of the images. I know that I really can't follow all the comments while you are making those comments, because when I'm concentrating on the photographs, it's hard to see the comments at the same time. But please tell me what you like of these images. That's really something. And we have from Bristol, UK, Holland, Germany, Belgium, Uruguay, Orlando, Florida, I guess it is. And yeah, so all over the world, which is good, which is always good to have a big variety of countries and continents on the live stream. It's I'm always astonished about the technology that we can do. Sometimes it fails like it did in the first stream, and then streaming like this, like 20-30 years ago, would not have been possible. But now you can do this stuff with the phone, and that's astonishing. And talking about the images, and yeah, Plato, I agree that the nostalgic feeling, it's because of what it looks, the image, and how it is. It's the scan and everything, the film structure, or you can see the texture of the film and everything, and not too bad about the magenta. But we will continue to the next image, and this is from Victor Gandia. This is from Valencia, Spain. This is La Ciutat de les Ciencias in Valencia, and there was one particular thing on the images this time, and that was that quite a few images were kind of too raw in a way that there is no image editing on these images, and when you would look at this, it looks actually quite dark on the stream, and it looks a bit better than on my screen, which is of course okay. But always try, because if you look at the histogram, you can see that there is black and there is a lot of white. As you can see, the white is here, but the black isn't totally black, and that's something that you really should always do. I'm glad that it actually shows on the stream quite dark, which is a good thing, because it looks a lot better than on my screen. But otherwise, the composition and the idea of reflection is totally cool. This is a really nice looking image, and this is a fun image in a way that this could be rotated. It doesn't matter if we look at it like this, we'll rotate it, or the other way, or like this. This could be, any way. It would work like this. And let's go back. I think this was the original, but this is a real nice looking place, and you need a real calm water to get this perfect reflection. Otherwise, it would not be the same image. Of course, it could be something else, and also a good image if you have some movement in the water. But very nice image, Victor. And let's go to the next one. Philip D has sent this, and he said it was a cold day, and after taking a few images of the bridge and the background, I wasn't really satisfied. I hung around for a considerable amount of time when suddenly I heard some voices approaching the bridge. I was especially pleased when I saw people as 3 in my favorite number when photographing. That's an interesting. And if you hear, please let us know more about the number 3. That's really interesting. I always look for at least 3 points of interaction with the frame. Now it was a matter of snapping the photo. Worried that I pressed the shutter too soon or too late. I'd missed what I saw as the critical balance of the image. I think it's hard to say how these people were, before you click the image or click the shutter. And I think it was nothing wrong with the perfect. Of course, if the person with the white coat who's first in the line there would have had the same position of the legs as the 2 other ones have, because when you look at the reflection, those reflections of the 2 people with darker coats looks a bit better, and the reflection from the first one is kind of blended with the rails there. But otherwise, I think it's a good image. There is something that I would probably do is to crop it a bit like this. I think I personally would like it to be cropped a bit because of there is quite a lot of sky, which is not that interesting. And this would make, this crop would make the reflection and the people more in the center of the image and center of the crop. Let me turn myself off so that you can see the image. I don't know if you hear Paul, and do you agree on this? And what others think about the crop if it's like this? John, Paul, and Ringo on the bridge. Oh, I like this comment here. Oh yeah, this is a good one. A good one. And let's look at the next one. And this is Scott Gordon. He says that this is not a great photograph. This is his words, not mine. And what else does he say? But it illustrates the technique of showing just a vertical reflection and not the source object. By cropping and inverting the image, one can produce an image that cannot be seen in reality. Yeah, that's true. And that's something also that I did not cover that much on my reflections video, where I announced the assignment. And that's really a good way of making the image look totally different, is to take the reflection and then flip it or make it a mirror image or something like that, and that will make the image a lot more interesting, as we can see here, and the color contrast. And I like the tree in the front of the buildings. It's kind of like a boulevard or by of course it's by the sea or river, where you can see the reflection. And these kind of images is a lot about shape, abstract shape, and of course when you have moving water, it's also about timing. Try to make the image look as its best, or the reflection as its best, and then you can crop like this, or cropping the image when you're making the image like this. I think that's a clever idea, and then flip it and turn it around. It looks like a painting almost. I really like this one. I really like this image. Good job. And let's grab that one. And then a very classical and atypical. Let me see that I have. Yeah, I do have the right picture on the stream. A great example of a classical reflection image, and you have a very good subject there to the bridge of the tower bridge, I think it was. iconic tower bridge in London reflected in a cafe window. Yeah, very classical image. What I would probably do, well, let us try how that works. If we crop the image slightly from here, we can actually turn that on and see if we could crop it. I don't know if this works better. This might get the reflection a bit more obvious and the bridge more in the center. But the idea of having something here to make the movement of the image like that is not a bad idea. Maybe it could have been opened a bit more or then cropping a bit less. So I think that the cropping is maybe a bit on the wrong place here on this side, I would say. But otherwise, I like the door, and I like that there are some people here. This could have also been good if there has been some people on this one. You can see someone sitting there, and maybe could have been too busy if there were people sitting here. It's really hard to say for sure, because the problem with these reflection images, as like you saw in my video too, that they might be a bit too crowded. There might be too much things going on, and it's always a bit hard because it's kind of like a multi-exposure. You have two different layers of stuff, because you have something in the front in the real life, and then you have the reflection, and you might have something inside. So you might have 3 different layers with totally different stuff, and that could be so that the image is too crowded, and that's why it's a tricky thing to do. Let's continue. But I like this image, and there's of course always the cropping is something that you could debate, and I'm saying that this is not okay. It's just my opinion. Like I always say that when I say something, it's my opinion about the stuff. You might have a different one, and I'm not saying that I'm right, but it's just what I think about the image. And then something that I also did not talk about in my reflection video. As you can see, there's a lot of things about reflections that you can think of. Is one that you have the reflection as a background, and that's something really interesting to use, because having a background that has some texture, has some color and light, has some dark areas, has some bright colors, maybe sometimes not so bright colors, and then you have the subject in front, and the background is the reflection of something. And I think this is one good way of making also the separation of the subject from the background, which is always important, so that you have a very clear not of course background too, but the subject, so that it doesn't blend in with the rest of the image. That will give the eye something to look at. And this one works very well on that. You have really sharp flower, water lily, as it says, and then you have the reflections with some sky and some green leaves, or maybe a tree back there, and which makes this image really interesting. There's also, with this one, I think I would add a bit of contrast to the image, and maybe I would see what the white balance is, and then maybe warm it up a bit and see if the highlights makes the details more visible here, but not much. As you can see, very subtle changes to the image, and it can make a big difference. And let's see the next one, and this is Mark Chambers, and this is really, like he said, this slightly confuses the brain, as there was a strip of ice at the edge of the loch before the reflection in water. Yeah, this probably is ice over here, and then you have still or water that it's not moving over here, and this looks really strange, and you start really thinking, what is this? And I think this is so good. I really like this image because of the ice on the water, and it kind of breaks the reflection and makes it some kind of a kind of like a line or area there, and you really don't know what's going on, and it almost looks like this bottom part is closer than this one, so it's like almost like this, so that here is the background, then you have the ice, and then you have the front. That's what it looks like, and you can't really, it messes up with your eyes quite a bit. I think this is really good. Well done, Mark. Let's see. Yeah, cropped image. He was talking about the. And is there a way to put the photographer's name on the image display? Yes, what I have is the stuff that comes straight from Lightroom, but I could mark the name there too. That's something that I could do. Like this one, you have Mark Chambers here. I don't know if you can see that well. And here we have the why I leave this here is that you can see the information from. And sorry, wrong camera. Okay, here you can have the name, and then you have the information over here, which is the EXIF data over there. But let's continue with the next one. Okay, you have Ghent by Night, Dominique Depot. And this one also, very good reflection, real classical reflection. And I wonder how the water level goes here. What happens if the water level rises? There might be some wet cellars in this. This looks very strange, but really good looking place. I'm not saying that, but on this one too, a bit of contrast or a bit of dehaze would do good, and maybe I would even vibrate the colors slightly. That could make it a bit better. It's a bit dark on the stream right now, and if you want, you can also add some saturation here. But the reflection part, very good reflection. A real classical and typical way of making the reflection. I wonder what that yellow building there is. You have some French balcony right by the river. This is an interesting place. I'd like to visit this. Maybe I should visit there and see for myself how this actually looks. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this one is not sure because it's a different name here than it's Janne Puurunen who said it's a pond in Liuskasaari, and this image is taken with an ND filter because the exposure is 5 seconds with f8, and this one also is really interesting and well made image. It's a bit it lacks a bit of contrast, and there's probably some motion blur on the shadow here, and there's definitely motion blur on the water. There's a kind of like a, the water is going around because you can see these lines are a bit curved, so it's going around, and then these are always a bit hard on these images. This could be better without this thing in the water, and then I would probably fix the colors a bit, but remember that's always my subjective idea of the colors of this image, because it's a bit magenta way. Let me see what the camera is not. Yeah, it was the EM5 Mark II, so it's not a, it looks a bit like a film, like it was made with film. But let's try to see if we can find some neutral spot here, and oops, and see if we can add some contrast. Yeah, this is I don't know if this is any better. Could be. It's a bit better looking. The bright part in front, or in front in the middle, looks to be a bit better this way. And see what the dehaze does here. Yeah, you could make it pop a bit more. So it's very subtle changes on different things. Maybe the contrast was a bit too much, but that's, yeah, I think this one, it looks better to my eye like this. What do you guys think? What do you think? Is better to have a bit more contrast or not? Okay, but let's go to the next one. And this one also is an interesting image. It has been flipped, and this is Håkan Juha from Sweden. Sometimes a picture gets more interesting when showing it upside down, and you're absolutely right. I love it. I think this is because first you start looking at it, you don't you don't realize that it's flipped unless you until you start thinking about these what do you call these plants that are growing in the water? Don't know the name of this. Yes, more contrast about the previous image. I agree on that. And because the good thing about this image is that it's almost as sharp here as it is from here, as it is here. Not quite, but still, the water is so clear and still that you can get totally sharp images. And it's a good thing that the focus is on the building here. And then when you turn upside down, it makes it totally interesting. It's an interesting image, even if it's, let me do something that I should not do. But look at this image. But when you turn it, it's a lot more interesting. It's totally a different image and a lot better this way and more interesting. And also something that I did not talk about in the reflection video, which I always like if you find something else that I did not mention or do something differently. I always like that. Yes, I really like this image, and when you look at it, you can tell that it's from Scandinavia. There's some Scandinavian look in this image. Maybe it's the building. Water lilies, yeah, probably is. And let's go to the next one. In this also, Fredrik Belin, a very classical, simple reflection image that makes, or the reflection makes the image interesting, because usually a weather like this, when you have harsh sunlight, it's not the best time to photograph because the how do you say, the light is so hard that all the edges of the shadows are really sharp, and that's usually not very interesting. You want to have a lot lower light so that it reflects from things, and also it's there is a kind of like a reflector that it goes through all the particles in the air, makes it a lot more softer. And why I like this image is this boat here in the corner, which is kind of like a big mistake, but at the same time it makes the image a lot more interesting. Without this, I probably wouldn't pick this image for this, because it is otherwise it would have been a bit boring. Now it's kind of like why the boat is there, because it kind of looks funny, but that's the whole point of the image, I think. And that's why I like these kind of small mistakes that you can make, because usually if you make a perfect image, it's pretty boring. But if you have something that breaks the perfectness of an image. It gets more interesting. And it's very good that you don't show the boat any more than that. I think that it works perfectly like that. Let's see the next one. I do have the old school way where you have all this background information of the image. And let's see what Fredrik says. Early morning walk in a local harbor. The water was perfectly calm and good light direction made it for a good reflection of the trees. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Fredrik, I was struggling with keeping or removing the boat. Yeah, I think it's a good decision to have it there. It's more interesting, as I said. It would have been even funnier if someone would have, if there had been someone in the boat. But that's, of course, something that you can't really control. But I think it was a good choice that you had the boat there. Yeah, exactly like Plato say, perfection is boring. Yeah, it's like a perfect live stream is totally boring. If you have some audio issues in the beginning, it's more interesting. Let's see if they're. I'm just looking at the comments if they're. Yeah, and let's go to the next one. This is Sebastiano's image. After rain, a reflection in a pond. Yeah, I like the way that there is the circles from, there's some water been dropping, nice circles, which kind of like above these, and then the red leaves on the, probably it looks like they're under the water. Could it be true? Maybe it is. And the colors are really good because it makes the image a lot more interesting. And then, even though usually if you have at the top of the image this much white, it usually means that, or makes the eye wander away. But this circle of water or the waves of the water drops are kind of blocking your eye of wandering out of the image. So it's a really good thing that it's there. And then the bottom part is really interesting when you have the something in the bottom of the water, different colors, and then you got all these leaves going on. This one may be a bit too much. Not sure if that makes any better if you would have that out. But like always, these situations are really, really difficult to handle. You can't, do everything, and it's impossible. But I'm not really sure. Maybe I would darken this a bit or make it a bit more red, then it would fit a bit better. But as you can see also here is that if the water would have been really bright over here too, there wouldn't be any reflections. You always have to have dark in the, kind of like where it reflects. It's like when I was talking about in that video where I made the assignment, is that if you're using glass, you need to have dark indoors to in order to have the reflection. But I really like this simple and nice image. And what I always say that it's when you go out there, it's about looking around, thinking about the image, and looking down, looking up, looking all over the place to find the image. It might be, surprising place, and reflections is one way of finding something different. I know it's something that people use a lot, and in that sense it might be and become a cliche. You have the skyline and you have the reflection, but it is a cliche for a reason. It usually looks pretty good, and if you can get some distracting element in the image, then it will be a lot better. But let's continue with the next image. Then we have John Fallow's a reflective tree in lake. And this image is a reflection of a tree on an island in a lake, but the tree is cropped out, leaving the reflection only. However, the image is rotated, making the reflection resemble the parent tree. I like this way that you almost have the ground, so it looks like this image is growing from that, and then it's kind of like a painting. Let's try it this way, and let me turn myself from there. And having this slight movement makes this image interesting, because if the water would have been totally clear, it would have been maybe too much. But this way that you leave the tree out, the real one, and then you have only the reflection and you flip it is a clever idea. And we've seen it before today, and I'm really glad that you've done it, because it totally shows that you have the real world grass on the ground. It doesn't look like a reflection, but then you have the reflection growing from the ground. Very clever way of cropping the image. Real nice, real nice. Yeah, maybe let's see what happens if we add some white there, because it lacks some white. Is it better to have it? Well, not necessarily. It's too bright if you have it like this, and that's if we can. Not really sure. No, I think the original was totally fine. And then this is. I looked at this image for a long time and was like, what's going on here? But obviously this is Photoshop or some other image editing software where you can make composite images. And I really enjoyed this image. It's there's so many things going on, but it's still not too busy. You have the swan and the reflection, and then you have the hands and the reflection here, which is good. I don't know how you made these hands. Let me actually see what he said. Forge generative from mobile in their hand, like the sculpture. Yeah, this is not much. There was only explanation of the image. But what do you guys think about this? This was made by Alberto Moreno. What do you guys think about this image? Yeah, and yeah, John, it was. Yeah, I agree. That's very creative, and also I'm not sure if this is for this image, but I assume that it is. It's funny, like a giant drowning and calling 911. That's a good one. Yeah, I totally agree. This is something why I like. Excuse me. Why I like this image is something that you would not expect. It has a bit surreal thing. You have these two with the cell phones, and then you have this with the cell phone and a reflection in the cell phone. You get the swan. That's like, what is the swan doing there? This is so much fun. This image. This is a funny image. I'm really glad that you sent this. And yeah, do not know what the swan thinks. Probably wondering what's going on. It's very strange. Well, let's go to the next one. And this is Antti Rinnankoski. This image is from Finland, from Oulu. And I like the fact that there is a bicycle image from Oulu, because that's I think the bicycling capital in Finland. They even, year round, and it's way north. So it's a good good representation of Oulu, Finland. The reflective surface is a wall with shiny tiles, and like the hazy look it gives instead of all the crazy clear window reflections. Okay, so it's not a window, it's clear tiles, and that's why it's a bit soft. It's a bit different reflection what it would have been if this was a window. This is reflecting tiles on the side of the building, and I think the shadow was pressed at the perfect moment. It's a bit far away. I would see what this image would, if it was possible to have it like this. Maybe it doesn't work, but we could see that. I don't know. It might have been a bit too dull like this, or maybe we'll set it back so that it's the original. But really good light, and you have the right light reflecting from it. Probably shines behind the building, and then it reflects from the building here, and there is the reflection which goes a bit soft. And then you have the bicyclist right there in the middle. But as I said, a perfect moment to click the shutter so that you have the double thing going on here. Another good way also, but it would not have been possible in this building, is to have, if you have a glass wall, then try to photograph when it's kind of like reflecting like a mirror, and it's connecting to each other. If this would have been a bit closer, but there is the black thing in the middle, because the reflecting tiles are not going all the way to the edge. But well done, Antti. But, yeah. And then Jean-Claude sent this image. During a sunny day, reflection of a bridge painted in red and white fences. Contrast, local contrast, and saturation increased, lightly cropped. Yeah, this is very well edited, and this is you wouldn't know what this is unless there was the explanation, because this is a reflection of a bridge. You wouldn't kind of like understand that this was a bridge. This is a total abstract image, and I just love it. I love the shape and everything about this image, and all these. It's kind of whatever this white is reflecting. I wonder what it is. If it's the kind of like the rail or the fence or whatever you call it on the bridge, and it totally fits on this. It makes like small animals that live in the water, and you got all kinds of stuff going on. Then you have the red areas, and then you have the blue and some darker red here. It's totally cool image. And to be honest, it's really hard to see or understand what the bridge looks like, because that's what he said. I need to check this again. Reflections of a bridge painted in red, white fences. Yeah. That's what it says. It's a reflection of a bridge. You would not know that if it wasn't written there. I totally like this image. I guess you like it too. Great, like abstract painting, Picasso. This is very cool. And yeah, there was Tinjaman is asking about the editing, and it says contrast, local contrast, and saturation, and then it's slightly cropped. That's what he said, what Jean-Claude said in the explanation or background info about the image. Oh yeah, this is a good one. I don't dare to walk over that bridge. Yeah, I was had the same idea. It is, and I totally agree with Jörg. Fantastic, Jean-Claude. I think it is a fantastic image, and again something that you would not expect to see. Thanks for sending it. That it's marvelous. And then John Milke sent this image, and this is a local town in Minnesota. Why is it? Oh. Yeah, I love this. He put this he had how to pronounce the word in early December. The lake had frozen with no snowfall. Yeah, that's when that happens, you get beautiful reflections. And I drove by the lake to check out food and returned home to grab my gear. That's a 6-side panorama, 8-second exposure, compiled in Lightroom. Yeah, okay, he was going out, getting some food, saw this, went back home, took the gear and went back. You know, there's one lesson: always have your gear with you, even when you're just going to get out something to eat. Saves you a trip back and forth. But it was worth going. As you can see here, the very, very long reflections comes from the eyes. The eyes is not totally still. The water has been totally still when it's frozen, because the eyes is a bit, or there is a small texture and shape on the eyes, or some, so it's not totally clean, because you can see from the reflections here. And the only thing that this could be better is if the image had taken a bit earlier, when there is some what do you call the information or some texture and some details in the sky. It works this way totally fine. But a blue sky, a dark blue sky, would have given some more contrast to this. And even though it's a panorama, I would probably, well, I wouldn't. It's this kind of makes it look a bit odd, because you can't see where the crop is. Now when you look at that like this, with not so, when you have the gray here, then you can actually see the crop, which I was gonna say about. But this is totally fine. You wouldn't crop this. The only thing I would probably try to do is to lower slightly the highlights. It's a bit tricky with these really bright lights and a dark night. It's one of the hardest images to expose correctly, because the difference in the lights here in the brightest part and in the lights that are not so bright is actually quite huge, and it's really, really hard to make a perfect exposure. I think you've done good job with this. The one way of doing this is to make several exposures, and kind of like a HDR, make a composite image with different exposures, so that you have over here you have a different exposure than over here. That's one way of doing it. It's not easy to do, and you can do what it's called exposure blending, which kind of lets through different amounts of lights, and you should take a look what exposure blending actually is. It's not very easy to do, but on images like this, it makes a big difference. You might wanna try that, but I think this image is fine like this. I'm not saying that you need to do it on this one, but in general, when you doing this type of images at night, where you have really, really bright lights and really dark shadows and pitch dark places, then exposure blending is one way of doing it. It's kind of doing like HDR, but it's a bit different way of doing it. But good job, and good thing that you went back and grabbed the image. And then another very classical, excuse me, very classical image from Colin Wilkinson. Lockdown walk in Durham, England. That's a good walk you had there. And also this reflection looks like there is a hole in the pavement. It's like another world. You kind of like entering another world. And that's why this is really interesting. And I love the tree. It must be quite old. And then it's a good thing that you left some of the pavement here. And I like the kind of like a rip. It's like a ripped edge. It's like a piece of paper that you have a different layers. You're kind of like entering a different world. Let's look how this would be if we turn this the other way around. Not sure. As you can see, this is totally a different image. And sorry about this calling that I'm abusing your image, but I just wanted to see how this looks. I think your version is better. I think your version is better. The original. I think this is more surreal and more mysterious and more of a another world where you're entering from this hole. I think this one works better. Yeah, and what's good about actually on this one too, that you have really warm colors here, and this is a bit cold, and that's a good one too, because that makes it even more odd, because usually the cold is behind you. If you look at landscape images, you have the warm stuff in the front, and then the further away it is, you have the mountains, for example, are usually blue, because that's the way the air, or the is that air? Yeah, the air is. It's kind of like a aerial perspective, what we call. And when you have the blue in front, it all of a sudden kind of like comes forward. But then it is, or actually when it's forward and then it's blue, it kind of pushes it back, because blue is usually in the background and you have warm in the front. And this is why this is a bit mind-boggling, and eyes are like what's going on in this image. And that's one reason I like this. Oh, okay, so I was right. Holes in England are very often lead to into another world. All right, good to know. Yeah, I agree that the path on the right is a great frame. Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, there's somebody talking about Finland. Sorry, I missed those. Yeah. Waiting for the white hare, the one with the watch. True that. Oh, I love those comments. Let's go to the next one. Okay, this one was from Ilya, and I think it was from Serbia. Yeah, Novi Sad from Serbia. I was walking around shooting snow, new real lights and reflections. Real cold tones on this image. I don't know, that's probably is a good thing for an image like this, but what I would do is to add a bit of contrast. Not sure that it's going to be better, and then pick this. No, not that one. Let me try here. Not really. No, I'd say that the original is maybe the contrast is something that you need to add. And let's see what happens if we just add. Not really sure. Let's make it the original so that we can see that original image. But it good example of reflections again, and I really like the kind of like a line that goes just where the person is. The edge of the reflection is in a very perfect place. You have a kind of like a curvy line in the front here, and the composition is really good, that the person is right there in 1/3 from the edge, or 2/3 from the other edge. And also on this one, I think it's perfectly okay that it's in the middle, and this way, the horizontal way. So the horizon is about here. And when you're making images of reflections, when you go low, you can see a lot more, like you can see here. And really well done image, and having the person here is key. And also I like the small light right there between the knees. And then you have some people there and then that gives the image a bit of a story, that this person is going there where the other people are. And it's probably late and kind of like looks like a fairy tale land too, even though it's in the middle of a city. I like the snow and the trees and stuff like that. You know, this type of weather is, you know, the rare type of winter weather that is really nice. I don't know if it's probably might be even snowing there, not much, but because there are some lines here in the sky. I cannot really see if you can see it from the stream. Yeah, you can. Over there you can see, but of course this is quite clear, the water, so it's not snowing that much. But yeah, this one works really, really well. Yeah, I really totally agree with Dave. The people give the picture perspective. Yeah, exactly. Let me try one more thing that people are saying about black and white. Would this work as a black and white? Actually, it could. Actually, it could. This is a bit tricky. Sorry about abusing your image. This could work as a black and white image too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Ilya here? If you have any comments, please. Yeah, I think this black and white could work quite well. And then what happens if we crop it a bit from the side? Let's try this. Not sure. It kind of loses a bit. And then we need to. No, we can't crop it because then we will lose the top of the most likely a church there. Let's have it like this. Yeah, it's a tricky one. You can't really crop because I think this should be right there in the middle, the horizon. I think that was. Oh, you guys like it better like with the colors. I don't know. Now I've ruined the image. Let's have it the way it was. But these are really interesting too. And what you should always do is to, when you have images like try different things. Of course, you might have a pre-visualizing, or you have pre-visualized a thing or the scene that you want your image to look like, and you have something in your head. But always experiment and check out different things. Hey, could this be black and white? What about if I make a saturation a bit bigger? But of course, always try to do the editing so that you keep your own style, what you like. But sometimes experiment and try different. This is something that you could do an experiment with this image because it has a lot of possibilities, and it's all totally okay like this if that's what you prefer. But this is something that you should try and experiment and what it looks like. Let's go to the next one. And then yet another interesting image. And when I saw this image first, I was looking at this. It kind of ruins the perfect what do you call it, the reflection. And what Amir says, I should have removed the leaf on the left. And yes, that is true. You should have. Probably would have been a bit better. I like it like this, no problem with that. And I like the way that this around, or the ground is totally out of focus, and then you have the focus in the middle in the image. So this way, how it happens, you need to focus way back through the surface of the water, inside the water where the reflection actually is. It's as far as it is from the place of the surface of the water. So you need to go there. And as I said in the video about the reflections, that sometimes manual focus is the only way to go, because it might focus on the surface of the water, and that would be a totally different image. But I like it's kind of a bit disturbing to have the unsharp areas in the front here, but at the same time it kind of makes the same effect as it was with the hole in the ground where you had the another world. Is that usually the sharp stuff when we see in images are in the front, and then you have blurry background. And this is kind of reversed, which makes it, when you look at it, it's a bit strange in a good way. And you know, if you look at it like this, it's totally strange. You kind of see immediately the middle and the sharp leaves, and then when you start looking at it, and if you look at it a long time, the surroundings gets even more blurry, and it's really kind of like a mind bending and your vision bending image because of this way. And this doesn't ruin it, I'm not saying that, but it would have been better without it. Yeah, I like this. Simple and a bit complicated at the same time. Yeah. The only small thing that I would do, let's try that. If we take the effects, and not necessarily, just a slight vignetting could, not sure, just slight vignetting could make it better, or dark. It might darken it too much. Not really sure if but that's something that could work on this image. But I like this one. Yeah, simple and nice. Let's go to the next one. Ulf Zetterlund. The bolts are standing on a mirror in my studio. When using mirrors in an image like this, there might be a slight problem with double reflections, like you saw one of the opening scenes on my video, which was one of the crappiest footages I've ever filmed in my videos because of the crap reflection on that one. And but on this one, you don't really see the double reflection. As you look at this, you don't really see. The way to get rid of the double reflection is to use tiles. If you have a possibility to use black tile, there's only one reflection. And this type of images are really interesting because you can make these bolts look like a skyline of a city. And this is something that on a rainy day, people should try to do, to make, what can you do? You go to your toolbox and start looking around for bolts and try to make something like this. What I would suggest also is to try to make the image a bit lower so that you would have the camera much lower, almost on top of the surface. If you have the mirror, is my hand, or try to have the camera like this, or even a bit under it, if it's possible. Then you would have a more straight. Now this one is taken a bit with the tilted camera slightly. That's what it looks like, a bit above, and then you would have more symmetrical image. As you see, it taken a bit above. I'm always off the picture. I got the wrong picture. A bit above, but taking straight from this level would probably be a bit better. The reflections would be more towards the viewer. Now when you're taking it like this, the reflections are going kind of like backwards a bit. They're a bit further away, but otherwise the idea is really good. This is something that I might try and make some interesting, or I don't know if the image is going to be interesting, but this is something that I might try to get something like this with different types of bolts and stuff. This I like the idea of this image a lot. Maybe it needs a bit more fine tuning and working, but the idea is really good, and it's easy to do again. Just take the time and get the bolts and start shooting. This could be a nice project. And this is from Juhani. He's a Finnish, and as we can see, most likely a wedding photographer. And I was shooting some Trash the Dress images underwater. So this is underwater image. Trash the Dress, which is one genre of wedding photography where you take the image of the bride so that the dress is going to be trashed, and the symbolism is that it's only going to be worn once. And I really like this, and it's not an easy image to do, and you have lots and lots of problems underwater because you know everybody, you're floating, and you know everything, and the model is floating, and is there enough light? But this one is really well done, and this is probably the reflection from the underneath the water, and it needs, of course, to be fixed with the white balance because the underwater colors are a bit off, and when you have a wedding dress, it usually is white. You need to have it white. The problem also then is the color of the skin, which is a bit too white or pale for my likings. It could have been a bit warmer color, but it's not an easy task, and I think it's totally fine like this. Not saying that it makes a difference if the color would be a bit more healthier looking skin on this, but this is the problem underwater. It is really hard and to get the colors perfect. I think more important is to have the wedding dress white. Let's see. Yeah, I totally agree. And yes, that took some preparation. That's what it is with these type of images. And you just can't take this image just by like, hey, let's get into the pool and make an image. You really need to prepare. And if you're doing something like this, you need to practice first. You don't want to. It's not easy. I've tried it a couple of times to shoot underwater, but it's to be honest, it's not. It's hard. It's really hard. But it's a fun thing if you can do. And one way of doing also is to have the camera in a plastic box, and you know, a box that you can see through, and then you kind of put it in the water, and then you put the camera there, and the water level is here. You can see under the water and on top. That could also be a quite nice image if you have some plants on the water or some, you know, something there. That would also make a nice image. Just to photograph on the edge or the surface, the surface of the water. That would also make a really good image. But let's go to the next one. And this is I like the story on this. This is made by Steve Page, and what he wrote here was waiting at the bus stop, so took this shot. Simple as that. I really like this, and I think this was one of the best images on this thing. I really like this because for two reasons. There's a really good way of let me take me out. Good way of using reflections. You have a selfie, and then you have the person with the eyes here, and it's kind of looking at him, which I really like. And then you have this. It's in Edinburgh Transports, and then you have all the ground, and then you can see this is also probably a reflection, and everything here is reflection except him. Well, he is too reflection because it's up. Yeah, he is also a reflection here, of course. What was I thinking? Of course, this is the reflection. Oh gosh, I'm probably getting too tired. But anyways, this is yeah, it just works because of so many layers, so many things to look at, even though it's not too busy. And I like that there is the road here, so that there is also the one layer enough, or one layer more, the background, which is far away. And I think it's really well made image. Steve's ghost, yes, that is. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments here. Sorry about that. Let's go to the next one. Another good. Let me put it this way, you can see it better. Another good way of making reflections. It's totally bizarre image in a way that you don't know which is real life and which is a reflection. The only thing that makes the impression of real life is right here in the middle where the people are. I would probably, if this was my image, I would probably make the highlights a bit less, and then I would add a bit dehaze to make it more and clarity, and maybe even just to make it a bit more punchy. It's a bit washed out, and I think it was a good starting point. But all in all, I love this image. It's a good example of bizarre and very busy reflection image, and still be interesting and not too busy. And I think the people here are really important. I don't think this image would have been as good without these people here. They probably are a bit what do you call, interesting, curious. That's the word, curious, that what's going on. And like this person here is like looking like this, and so is this one. And I think these three people here are important in the composition. It's very often that small little things are actually really important in an image. They just, without them, the image would be empty. And what I like about this is that you have so many layers here, and actually you don't, I think these are real. This is not reflection. I think the reflection is only here, and then you have some reflections here, and also here, and then here, and over here too, and here. So you have cropped it really tight, which is good, because then you would, without the tight crop, it would be too kind of like boring or too loose. Now it's tighter and more condensed with this way, and it will also make it more surreal, the image. Yeah, that's exactly like it says. The people in there give it the real dimension, which you lose at the first look. You seek and people. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point you had there. And let's see who we have next. We have Ray Wilson and his knife. This one is really interesting because it looks like the knife is floating on air. It's because it doesn't just this is again one fun image. I don't know if this is how this was made. Let's see if I remember. A reflection in a pond of a knife. I took 1 million attempts to photograph it just before it hit the water. Seriously, just glued a thread to the knife, then cloned it out during editing. Simple. All right. Yeah, true that. That's what it was. You could have done it throwing it to the water, but there were two problems with that. The first one was you should have been really nailed it, because if you hit the water with the knife, it won't be still for a bit and you need to wait. But yeah, very clever idea doing this. Maybe it lacks a bit contrast to my likings, but otherwise, yeah, maybe it was. Otherwise, it's totally perfect, and I really like the idea to hang it there and then have the reflection. Very clever idea. Real nice job, Ray. I enjoy this image a lot. What else people say? Are there any comments about this image? Is Ray still here? I think he was earlier. I'm not sure if he's still here. one of these images that you could actually, with a bit different. There is some odd stuff here, a bit blurry. But if this was tacked sharp, it's sharp here. There's not enough. This could be one of those images that you'd hang on the wall. I think this is something so interesting. And then you have actually this one that I didn't realize before. You have the underwater thing here that it looks like it's kind of like it could be a forest, and it's aerial shot, and this could be forest, and then this some odd smog there too. So there are a lot of things in this image that I like. Well done. And let me see how the next one goes. Okay, then we have Richard Priestley's image. Let's see what he says about this. There it is. I call this image reflection of an old and the new. It's in Birmingham, UK. And what I like about this image, there is something that is really nice, is that you have the building in the front, or the tower of a building in the front, but you don't see the reflection of it. But you see a different building. And that's kind of, it makes the image really interesting. And I like the white pillars too, that makes kind of like the image sliced in a way. And then you have this right there. And the good thing is that the highest part is right here, because you would think that this is this is a reflection of this, even though it's not. And that's why it's kind of odd. You have the tallest here, and then you have the reflection that is the tallest here in the reflection. And then you kind of think that this is that is reflected here, but it's not. And that's why it's good. And the composition is really nice. You have here 1/3 over here, and then you have 2/3 here, or it's almost not, well, it's almost 1/4. But anyways, it's in a good position. And the tight crop I also like. This is a bit tricky, the top part, because this is good that you have this here, but then the other parts here is not that good. So there is probably not a possibility to go a bit up and have a bit of a different perspective. Most likely you don't have the possibility to do. This is the only way you can photograph this place. So I'm not really sure. Let me try that. What it looks like if we crop it from the top a bit. Then I would need to straighten it up a bit like this. Not sure. This is a tricky one. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, it is. I totally agree that it's an amazing image. But what do you think about the crop? Is this better or the original? Or this is the original, or this one? Can't really tell. This is the don't slice the top off, says Dave. Yeah, look fine as it is. I agree. Let's do not abuse Richard's image. Let's give it another look how it was. I think it's maybe you could crop the top a bit because of the. Let me turn myself off. Yes, I really appreciate this image. It's a good place to photograph. This is something that actually could be a good place to go again and see a bit of different times of day and different types of clouds, and have a series of images with this similar crop would be totally interesting. When they have, dark later at night when there are lights in the windows, maybe. I don't know if these are office buildings or whatever. Then you could go, in a darker time and try to have some lights here. And I don't know if this might be lit too, so that could be endless possibilities of images on this place. But yeah, I really like this one. And let's see, then we have William Hansen from I believe he's from Born home, the island in the Baltics, in the southern part of Sweden, even though I think it's Denmark. And he was photographing birds, and then he got a bird in flight and a reflection. Very good, very good. Let's see if we can add some contrast to this. I think it lacks a bit contrast, and then a bit turning down the highlights, because the reason I'm doing this is that it's taken most likely in a pretty hard sunlight, and the parts here are a bit blown out, but it's not broken, so there are some details in the white part here, and then you have the reflection here. And let me see like this. I think it's a bit better like this. It's a bit hard because of the hard light makes it really tough to get a good. Let's see what we do dehaze, if this works better. Yeah, and also a slight problem. The background is a bit too close, but otherwise it's a perfect moment, and it's not easy. Did he say if it was a longer lens? I think it was. Not sure. It doesn't say. Yeah, 300 millimeters at least is the focal length. So it's not easy to crop. Might be a bit of a crop. It doesn't say here because it's the shape of the image. You might have cropped from the sides a bit. So let me see if there are any comments. All right, if yeah, there was don't slice the top off. Look fine. Maybe lose the left side. Not too bad. The right is okay. I like the new crop. You could be on the left. Not focusing duck is a challenge here. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is a challenge. That is a challenge. Maybe to darken the background a bit. That would be a more excessive image editing to do that. But that's something I could do, is to try to leave this as it is and then darken the background. It's going to be a too much job to do on a live stream right now. I could probably do a live stream or editing someday, but that's not right now. And let's see the next one. It's from Michael White. And first when I saw this image, I was like, where's the reflection? When I realized that it's actually Michael himself in the photograph. And I really like the colors on this, the color of the scooter, and then perfect color for the jacket for this image. There's a bit magenta here, but that can be fixed if wanted. And then I was also thinking, I don't know why, but I'm on a crop state of mind today. I guess I would probably crop it a bit from there. This would probably make it a bit more obvious, and not sure. Let's see if we can get rid of of course it gets green. There's something odd at the edge there, but I'm not sure. What do you think? Should I crop it or not? Or should it be cropped? Is this too much, the flowers in the back? Somehow it is good. But I'm not really sure. This is something that I would have to have both images, side by side, and really think how it would. But I really like this. This is also a very classical way to use mirrors that are there. There are a lot of bikes, and you have cars. You get traffic. There are some some street corners might have a mirror, and you have, of course, these are the best ones because these are usually a bit further away from the like the door in car. You have cars have these side windows, but they are not that good because they are so close to the car, and that might not work that well when you are out there shooting. But yeah, this kind of images really makes a good reflection. Yeah, you said the path to the flowers is nice. Yeah, I agree that there is a point when you have this, and it's in a perfect position when it's right there you have the middle of the scooter here, and then you have the path here. But is it too much? Or because we see this first, and then I think this line here is perfect. Then you have the colors, and then you see, and as I said, when I was looking at it, it's like where's the reflection? And then I realized, and that's sometimes it's not that obvious. But this is a tricky one. But I totally like this image. It's kind of like a classical, simple, and it could go as a street photography image too. It is a classical image, I think. Let me try black and white. Sorry, I'm a bit of a image editing mood. Let me see if too dark. No, it doesn't work black and white. No, there's not enough contrast and color. It would need a lot of work to do to make it work in black and white. I think is the washed out colors and a bit old look is probably the best. So we'll leave it like this. You probably agree. Yeah, that's true. That's true also, that like Bert Trin says that it's very filmic. That's totally true. Yeah, this is something that we could discuss, that Ms. Diamar says. The crop might be better as the path leads the eye away from reflection towards the flowers. Yeah, that is, and always, try to, when you look at your own images, I know it's really, really hard to judge your own images, but that's something to really practice. And that's why I think these assignment things and videos are good, or I'm saying my own videos are good. No, sorry, it didn't come out right. But the idea of looking other people's work and analyzing, and always remember that if you give feedback, it doesn't mean that you could have done it better. But when you see it on image, you might have ideas. How could this be better? And you will learn, because next time you see something like this, and I mean this, you have an idea that you start thinking about, and you've seen an image and you might copy it. And it's totally fine to copy other people's work by taking similar kind of images. I'm not saying that you should copy the image like this, but you can go out and see a scooter and try to make a similar type of image, and you will learn, and also you will get a different image. It won't be the same anyway, so just go ahead. Stealing ideas, no problem with that. That's a good way to learn. And let's go to the next one. This one is Pasi Huotari, and Päijänne is a big lake, one of the biggest lakes in Finland, is just got rid of its ice on the sun. You can still see some snow here, and this is a really good reflection because the reflection looks a bit different than it's kind of darker, and there's a lot more contrast, and it's like a different sky that is reflected because the colors is totally different. I'm not totally sure about the snow in the front. In a way it gives that small distracting element to the image, but still I'm not totally sure about this. But cropping it tighter would make it boring, so I would probably leave it there and not touch it. I'm not gonna show the boring version. And then we have this. This looks like almost like there is a small tornado, even though we don't have tornadoes in Finland. Sometimes there isn't. I think they're called something else, smaller, really small tornadoes. And this looks like one, but probably not. But as you can see, a lot of details here, and you even have, I don't know, some rocks here, which is actually quite nice, and you can see through the water. Also, you have some texture here, which makes it more interesting. I would probably add a bit contrast to the sky, but not really sure if that works. Let me try that. I would grab that tool there and make, this is just a quick edit. No, it doesn't really. it doesn't really. Let's try some dehaze. Now this could make it a bit odd, and it would look like the sky is replaced. Let's don't do that. But maybe the contrast is the only thing that I would add a bit to this image. Not sure about the white balance, how it would. No, doesn't work. Let's go back to the original image and look at like this. Yeah, I think it works. Works like this. And let's go to the next one. This one was from Ran Fuchs. In an industrial area, reflection in window were the only decoration I could see and the only things that beautified these ugly brick walls. And yeah, this is another classical way of using reflections. And you know, the reflection, what's funny is that it is totally abstract, and it's like the cubism or whatever. You know, the art form when you know everything was made out of blocks and stuff like that. And that's what I was wondering, that how is the glass here, because this is it's like the glass is bended, even though probably it's not. It looks pretty brand new windows. And what I like about these windows are the you know, the frame is like, it's not a single window. You got many windows here, which makes it really interesting. And when you look at, let's make this image, I want to show you something. Let's make this not 100%. There we go. Then 66%. And as you can see, what's the funny thing is, when you look at this image, it looks like this edge is shorter than this, even though it's a total you know, rectangular. But when the image is like this, it really seems like this edge here is shorter than this, so that it's like kind of like cropped this way, but it's not. It is perfect square, not square, but a rectangular, and that's kind of like an optical illusion. It's really kind of disturbing looking, and again, in a good way. It's like this is not real. What's going on here? And I think that makes this image really, really interesting. It's like there's kind of like a movement here. And this one also would make a good place to go in a different times of day. And also, this could be an interesting time lapse, so that the camera is a bit moving, so that these reflections are changing all the time. That also could work, but that's okay, totally a different thing. But an interesting place, and this is a good example of looking around, or what you find when you're looking around, when you open up your eyes, and just like he said, it's an ugly building and nothing nice here. Most of us would have made a black and white, gloomy image with really hard, you know, contrasts and stuff like that, to make it like a, you know, or sepia image to make it look really old. But I think this way of doing is better, and it's more happy image, and it's a more positive image. I really like this one, even though it's simple as it is, nothing spectacular, but a real nice image. And let's go to the next one. How haven't even watched. Okay, we have a pretty good crowd. I like this. Great optical illusion. I agree. And then this one. It's a trippy. Yeah. Sorry, Ed, I'm not gonna point your comment. That's it's gonna be flagged, the video, otherwise. But it's a good one, your comment, anyways. And then we have this selfie, or a frog's eye, or what do you want to? Green frog and me. I really like this, and it's taken with the 60mm macro lens.
and most likely it's cropped a bit, I would say, because of the size of the reflection. But this, I just love this image. It's so much fun, and you can see the huge eye, and then the small little guy photographing is over there, and then you have a beautiful sky. And even though it looks like it's a really, really sunny day, there must be a bit of a shadow where the frog is, because it's not that harsh, the shadow areas. What I would probably try on this image is to see what happens if I make a small vignette like this, and let's make it darker, just slightly darker, and add a bit of contrast. Not really sure if this makes it any better, but the color of the green is so intense that, you know, punching up that a bit makes it, to my eye, a bit better. But let's leave it like this. Let's don't mess too much with this. Whoops. And let's try to see how it is like this. And I think it's a really interesting image. And again, the reflection is not that obvious, even though it's there and you can see that. And I like that this is a selfie too. And it would have worked without being a selfie too, because the sky is quite interesting. There's quite a lot of black here, so that would have been not so good. But I like the reflection of the sky too. But yeah, there's a lot of places you can find reflections, and eyes are one, but you need to be close. You need to be real close to get an image like this. And what? Okay, we'll have some more time. And then let's make this a bit smaller. It was too big. And then we have this from Jens Jensen. I call it the X. Not sure if it was made with the M1X. Not sure. It's photographed in front of the bird hide, where a little basin with still water gave the opportunity for this reflection. The bird is a blue tit. All right, that's good, because I don't know any birds. That was good information. A really perfect timing with the shutter. And, you know, Pro Capture, for example, would be one tool or feature to use. If you have that in your camera, that would have been one way of doing it. But of course, it doesn't matter. If you can nail it with one shot, then it's totally fine. It's easier in the edits when you have only one shot instead of hundreds. And this one is a good example of a really interesting bird photograph too, because it's not the obvious. I've seen, you know, these types where the birds are hitting the water, just hitting the water, and this is one of those. And I really like the X shape here, because you have the little piece of wood in the water, and then you have the reflection, which is quite sharp. This one is not that sharp because of the movement in the water here in the front, but it's totally fine like this. I'm not saying that it should be pin sharp. It's probably a bit better, because then you can see this pin sharp bird better. And then you have the waves that has caused because of the bird has touched the surface of the water on this work. Let me try again a bit more contrast. I don't know, maybe it probably makes it a bit more punchy. Not sure. Yeah, I would definitely add some contrast to this, but let's leave it like it was. It's totally fine like this. This is just my personal taste, that I like images that are a bit more contrasted than not so much contrast. But this works totally fine. Very well done. Very well done. Oops. And then let's go to the next one. Another classical way of making an image. And this one is also one of those that is there a hole in the ground because of the very sharp-edged water. Here it kind of like tells that no, it's not a hole, because you can see the not so sharp reflection on the it's not tiles on the sidewalk. Also, this one could have been a bit tighter crop. Might have been a bit better solution. And let's see if we do add some white, because as you can see, it lacks a bit white. It's a bit maybe it's too much, and let's do a bit of contrast and a bit of a dehaze. Might not be, there might be too white, but let's bring the whites a bit down. Yeah, this could be something. It's a bit, as you can see, there is a slight kind of like a gray filter in front of the image, which is quite typical if you don't have the white point at exactly here. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it might give the image a bit too or not even enough contrast. But it's a good example of a simple and nice reflection image. And then we have Patrick's image from, this one is from Rocky Mountains in Canada. And he himself is from Belgium. And he says that he's an Olympus fan. Good stuff. And this is also very classical. Very, very classical. And this what's really interesting about this reflection, that you don't really have the reflection of the sky. You can actually see through the water, which makes this image quite interesting. This reflection, of course, is quite obvious. But then you have here, you don't have a reflection. You see it through. Of course, there is some reflection of the sky, but the sky is quite dramatic, but you don't really see it in the image, and it should be there. I don't know what is there. I don't know how this actually happens. It looks like there is a shadow. There might be a forest just behind, but then you would have not really sure how this actually goes, that you actually see it through the water. Because if you want to get rid of the reflections, then you need to use a polarizing filters, which I might do a video here in the near future. But really a beautiful place and something worth visiting if possible. Rocky Mountains are really, really nice set of big mountains. And let's me see the last photograph, which I find very kind of amusing. And I don't know when this was taken, but he said that last minute pic from wait a minute, there it is. Last minute pic from today at the airport in Frankfurt, flight to Spain. Well, that's rare. That's rare. It's a good thing that people can fly again, and if they need to travel. And I really like the reflection of this. And this is also, you start thinking that where is this? This must be a window. Okay, of course, it's photographed through a window. You can see that it's a bit soft because of the windows there, and you can see the reflection of the light here. And then you can see a reflection of a face right in the nose of the plane. This is really clever. Maybe the crop could be a bit tighter. There's quite a lot of here. It might be a good thing, but we'll see and how it goes. Because if we take it like this, then it would be a bit more about the reflection. And let's see if the contrast, and then this could need some work to open up this and then darken the others. But I'm not really sure about this. These crop things are always so subjective that it's really hard. You need to figure out and play around a bit. But I really like the reflection here. This is a clever idea to kind of like, it looks like the face is painted on the plane, even though it's probably a reflection of a window inside the airport. Yes. Camera battery bulb. All right. Not sure what those comments are, but nevertheless. Here we had all our images for today, and we still have about 20 to 30 minutes. If you have any questions, now it's a it's a time for a little Q&A if you feel like asking any questions about. Yeah, let me block that user. Yeah. So yes, if you have any questions about photography, about Olympus, or whatever you feel like asking, yeah, it was spam. I blocked the user, so it won't bother us anymore. Those are annoying, really annoying. And as I said, it was a really good set of images. The only thing was maybe the image editing wasn't as good as it has been before, and that's one reason that I will make the assignment video so that you have 3 or 4 weeks to make the image, so that you will really properly fix the images for the feedback video. Because I think it was Friday or Saturday when I made this video, and it's already a Thursday, so there's only less than a week. Sometimes it's been only a weekend when you have time to make the images, and I can understand it's not that easy. Yeah, best video was blocked. That's good. That's good. The level of photo was very high. Yeah, I think it was. Only the editing thing was a bit sharpened on that. The amount of images was a bit less than last time. I think I got 90 images now. Now it was about 60 or 70 images this time, so it's a bit less. But that was good set of images. And what's the next contest? Can't wait to try again. We'll get it right one of these days. Yes, you will. Don't worry. You will. And very distracting whilst I'm at work, but thank you. Oh yeah, that's always something. But if you want, you can always watch some parts again if you want, because this live stream, of course, will be saved in my channel, so you can watch it from there. And it seems that you don't really have any other questions about photography. I still have, I promised you 2 hours, so and I've been here for a little less over 2 hours, but there was the first 20 minutes was the old stream that didn't work, and that's a pity. It's always so that if you need to put another stream, you lose a lot of people, because YouTube won't promote the new one because it's too new. So, but that's a pity. But we can't help it anything. Yeah, this is something that I have planned on doing. That editing session would be cool, and maybe we could do some time a bit more editing on these images that you send, and give my suggestions to the images, or I could show some how I do my images. That could also be something, but we'll need to figure that out, how that would work. The problem with editing is that it takes so much time to explain and do things that having a live stream with 30 images, it wouldn't be a good idea. I don't think people would like to watch that, but I don't know. But a few images and think about and then discussing what to do would probably be a good idea. In Wesley Thornys, how are you getting on with the DxO Prime? I'm doing fine with DxO Prime. I think it's astonishing software that everybody should at least try, because there is a free trial version and it doesn't cost you anything. It works for 30 days. And you can just test it and see if it works for your images. There is only one small downside, that you cannot tweak the settings. It's always the same, and that's something that I think they should have a slider, for the effect, that you could do a bit less noise reduction maybe, and some previews. That could probably, but maybe they're doing that in the next version. But it really makes images totally clear. I even tried some of my old iPhone photographs from way back that were really grainy and bad, and it cleaned them like it was taken with a better camera, and those were high ISO iPhone photographs, which are really grainy and not that great. But it has. But the problem with that is also it doesn't have the modules, the optic module for newer iPhones. I think the X or even was it even the iPhone 9 that was the last one that they had. Don't remember. But yeah, I think it's a marvelous software, and it improves the images so much. Oh yeah, I make off-road videos inside my car, and I'm having a hard time with audio. Any suggestions? Do you use an external microphone? That's one good way of improving the audio, because the microphone that's in the camera is not that good. That's something to consider. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Ray. Rob does the editing videos. That's one reason I haven't done them, because he does it very well, and he's been doing it for many times. So I might stick with this type, that I will pick a few images and make a few edits on this stuff. All right. Thank you for your kind words about the session. I'm really glad that you enjoyed. Oh, okay. You use whoops, sorry. Let's take the next one. I use the LSP from Olympus. Yeah, maybe you should have it a bit closer. If it's far away, then it will pick the surrounding noise, which usually cars make. You have all these wind noises, and then you have maybe the noise from the tires and noise from other cars and stuff like that. But I would probably use that with a lavalier mic, so that you have the microphone as close as possible to your mouth, or then have it like I have my mic right here now, so that it's quite close to my mouth, so there's of course here is not much sound from anywhere. So that's something to consider. All right. Thank you, Jean-Claude. Bye, everyone. I learned a lot from you all. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. But then we will go to the next assignment. Did I spell it right? Assignment. Yeah, I guess I did. It's light and shadow. And I will have the video on the 4th of May, and then the live stream will be 27th of May. So, whoops. Maybe I'll show the slide. Yeah, light and shadow. An assignment video will be online next Tuesday. That might be my next video, because I have a lot of things to do during the weekend. So I might skip tomorrow's video. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't finished it, so I'm not sure I have time tomorrow. But I'll try to finish it. And then the live stream will be 27th. But assignment, light and shadow. So start looking your archives and getting ideas about light and shadow, and then I hope that you go out during May and try to grab that image for that assignment. That will teach you, and you will learn a lot more than just taking a proven image that is good from your archives. But of course, that's okay. I'm not, it doesn't matter if you do that. But if you want to learn, go out and do the assignment for the live stream. That would probably be the best way. And what I also will be doing is to picking up 3 best images for the assignment, and then we will see that how many different images we have at the end of the year, and is there someone who has a lot in top 3. I won't say which one is best, but I will pick top 3 images of each, starting next time, to give some, not competition, but some level of competition to the whole thing. But I guess if you don't have any questions. And it's been almost 2 hours with this stream, and I will thank you, everyone. It was very nice to have you all here, and sorry about the hassle and the delay at the beginning of the video. The 20 minutes was wasted. I'm really sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed everything, and I will continue making videos, and we'll see you next week. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.